Welcome to Bee's Travelogue, episode 51. On Sunday, August 4th, I left my Airbnb and took the bus back to the ferry terminal. I was early and had time to walk around and take some photos of the statues outside the terminal. Inside the terminal, I wasn't sure where I needed to go. There were different areas where people were waiting and I didn't know where I belonged. Eventually, a young man waved to me and I got to enter the ship. This time I didn't have a cabin with just 8 people, but a bigger room that a lot of people were sharing. I just left my suitcase and went to the deck. I noticed the water was churning a turquoise green as the boat was leaving the quay. And here too, just as in Mokpo, there was a small contingent of people that were like a farewell committee, waving goodbye to all of us on the ferry boat. I was sad to leave Jeju. I had had a wonderful time on the island and seen things I hadn't even imagined before coming. This boat was a little bit older than the one I had taken on the way to Jeju. We were leaving the same way, passing the white lighthouse and the red lighthouse. And then soon we had a beautiful view of all of Jeju from the distance. In the east, you could see all of the volcanoes. And what I really noticed was that all the clouds were sitting above the island. Anyone climbing Halasan on this day would not have a good view. I found out that in order to climb Halasan, you needed to register online and get special permission to be able to climb on a particular day. I also read that it can take about 7 hours to climb all the stairs to the top of the mountain. So even though I had wanted to climb Halasan, when I read all of that, I decided that it wasn't worth for me to spend an entire day just climbing the mountain. So I'm glad I didn't even try to do that. I spent the first part of my return journey just standing on the back deck, looking back at Jeju. Soon the island disappeared and we were over open waters, so it was time for me to go back down to the ramen machine and buy my lunch. By the time I was finished eating, we had reached the first islands again, and it was getting interesting. As before, the islands were surrounded by fog. I found a very nice spot in the back of the ship, surrounded by families, where I had a bit of a breeze and a beautiful view over the islands as we made our way back to Mokpo. I kept getting up and taking pictures from the side, looking at the islands. It was very beautiful in the afternoon light. And then, to my surprise, the light fog got even thicker and we were going through a super fog almost, where you couldn't see anything close by. I've always liked being on boats and on the sea. Part of it is probably because I was born in a seaport, and also because some of my ancestors worked on boats, some as officers, some as carpenters. Also, my happiest days as a child were spent in Norway in a cabin in the mountains. And in order to get to Norway, we would usually take the ferry boat from my hometown to Oslo, which was a 19-hour trip. And I always liked standing at the railing, feeding the seagulls, and looking out over the islands of the Oslo fjord. So being on the ship here in South Korea very much reminded me of those happy days of my childhood. There were many people around me on the boat, and all of a sudden some of them decided it would be fun to feed the seagulls. Many were just throwing their chips in the air, but this one boy was trying to feed the seagull by hand. I remembered my mom holding out bread on the ship to Norway and actually feeding the seagull. And look, this boy succeeded as well. Soon after this, we were closing in on Mokpo. At this lighthouse, the ship made a sharp turn to the right, and then Gohado came into view. The ferry then turned sharp left, and we could see the Mokpo bridge for the first time. We were heading closer and closer toward the bridge, and then had to make a sharp right turn to go under the bridge. You can see the university right below Udal Sun Mountain. As the ferry went under the bridge, I could see the coastal walkway where I had walked with my mom and daughter back in May. I saw the Gohado Observatory and the tower for the marine cable car. Looking back, the sun was hidden right behind the bridge, and the light reflecting on the water was really beautiful. Our big ferry was making quite a lot of waves turning into the river. Being on the water here, it looked much wider than it had from the shore. We were passing other boats and going underneath the cable car tower. If you haven't watched the episodes about the marine cable car yet, I invite you to watch episode 11 and episode 34. I went on the cable car in November of 2023, and then again in May of 2024 with my family, and then one more time in October of 2024 during sunset. That episode will be coming up soon. Here you can see the small fishing boat next to the ferry struggling against the waves. I was determined to stay on deck as long as possible and not get my suitcase until I really needed to leave. The ferry docked at a different terminal from where we had left, but I knew where the bus stop was. The sunset on my way back to Namak was mostly hidden behind buildings and trees. Please join me for my next episode of Namak's Water Fountain. Thank you for watching.